The Politics program is brought to you by the brand new Kickstarter launching on Friday. That is Action News, the new card game created by me, as well as other people who actually did most of the work. This is our first card game since The Contender. It will launch on Friday, so if you are listening to this after when we recorded on Wednesday, then now is the time. Head on over to my social media at Justin R. Young, or go to Kickstarter and search for Action News. We got some amazing rewards. The game is really awesome. Everybody who is watching this right now is seeing all the stuff for the first time. You can go ahead and zapruder that if you want. We're really proud of it. We think the video's great. The game's even better. So go ahead and check it out. That is Action News on Kickstarter. And by our Patreon, patreon.com/JURY. Again, patreon.com/JURY. $3 a week gets you 2 extra episodes, as well as a ton of other bonus stuff. Anybody who's a patron will get my MP3 versions of all of my panels this weekend on the Kickstarter. So go ahead and check it out. But enough of talking about how we do the show. Oh, what do you say we just do the damn thing?
Politics, 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 politics.
Are you ready for some politics? Oh, come on. What? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Politics program. My name is Justin Robert Young, and you are joining me on a fine Wednesday afternoon on the East Coast, morning still here on the West Coast. Actually, it's afternoon because I'm late. Anywho, that's not the point. The point is that we are all here now discussing the week that was and will be in politics. We've got a ton on our plate, including but not limited to a fight amongst the press briefing, which gave me one of my favorite Vox headlines of all time. I'm going to answer definitively. So I've seen a lot of this in my own, I'm a little skewed, I think, as we all are. We tend to think that our social media following is the entirety of all of Twitter. And I have seen a lot of, a lot of public opinion about why anybody would support Trump still. Now, this is usually coming from people who didn't vote for him to begin with, but in their minds, now there has been definitive proof that he's an awful human being, that he's a terrible president, that is just a sea hair away from getting impeached. How could 89% of Trump voters, as a recent poll showed, still support him? I'm going to tell you. I'm also going to go one further and tell you what could make them turn based on why I believe they are still following him. We're going to talk about the Veritas videos, American Pravda, an expose on CNN, and why I think it's kind of bullshit, but not for the reasons you are thinking. I'm going to talk about the healthcare shuffle and something that I was not going to talk about. I'm going to be honest with you guys, because although I like to slip in the odd wrestling reference into this show, it is well known that I am a fan of the Graps, the pro wrestling. This was sent to me so many times between email and social media that I gotta talk about it. And that is the progressive liberal, the new heel wrestling character who is setting the world ablaze in Appalachia. And, of course, we got the pole dance and your emails. But let's go ahead and start off with this. It's my favorite Vox headline, quite possibly of all time. Vox is certainly not immune from from some clickbaity headlines, maybe a little breathless at times, maybe sometimes a bit too breathless for their own good. But this was their headline. A heroic Playboy reporter defended CNN's honor at the White House press briefing. He did not hold back. I mean, any port in a storm, I guess. And I'm not here to impugn the journalistic responsibility of Playboy. Although I am going to file in that Playboy has a White House press credential the next time somebody's like, oh my God, I can't believe blank got a press credential. Here, though, was the exchange.
Challenged the accuracy of the CNN story, and afterwards it was.
So let me set the stage here. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Yeah, one more time. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is taking a question, apparently from a Breitbart journalist, who is teeing her up. See, again, let's understand a few things about all these situations. Okay. Here's the first thing you got to realize. What we're watching in a White House press briefing, sure it is speaking truth to power. Sure it is asking for an official comment from the most powerful office in the country and arguably the world. But that does not mean it's not also access journalism. What is access journalism? Access journalism is when one organization controls all of the information, right? They then pick and choose who they want to leak good information to or tell of upcoming news. They play favorites in doling out the official stuff. And in that, you do yourself a favor when at times you play ball. So, for example, this Breitbart reporter either explicitly or implicitly understands that Sarah Huckabee Sanders wants to do a touchdown dance on the fact that CNN ran a story that they had to retract and 2 reporters resigned over it. He knows that she knows it's a bad look for her to just walk out and say, up your nose with a rubber hose, CNN. This is what you've been doing. So anytime that y'all get up in my face about fake news, Donald Trump's Twitter, just remember that happened to y'all. Y'all did publish some fake news and you had to fire somebody. That's what she wants to do. Okay? So, and this is the reason why I think Sarah Huckabee Sanders is kind of a better person for this job than old Spicer. Because she understands it's better that she gets set up for this than she comes out here and thunders and just starts making proclamations, right? So, that's the question. And almost immediately, we get a long-winded answer that I'm only going to play a part of. Here is Sarah Huckabee Sanders just doing the funky chicken touchdown dance on CNN. Here we go.
That out or be corrected. There's a video circulating now, whether it's accurate or not. I don't know, but I would encourage everybody in this room and, frankly, everybody across the
video she's talking about is the Veritas video in which surreptitiously recorded CNN staffers make claims. We're going to get to that a little bit later in the article, but that's the video she's talking about.
country to take a look at it. I think if it is accurate, I think it's a disgrace to all of media, to all of journalism. I think that we have
Strong.
gone to a place where if the media can't be trusted to report the news, then that's
trusted.
a dangerous place for America. And I think if that is
Dangerous.
the place that certain outlets are going, particularly for the purpose of spiking ratings, and if that's coming directly from the top, I think that's even more scary and certainly more disgraceful. And
Disgraceful. Dangerous. She's just painting. You're going to eat it. You're going to eat it all, CNN. Eat it all. Eat your shame. Eat your shame in front of me. And then when you vomit up your shame, you're going to eat it again. You're going to eat it again. Damn it. Yeah. You feel shame, don't you? Yeah. You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace. You're fired. So she gets all up in CNN's butt. When all of a sudden, coming from the side hatch,
where they had to have reporters resign.
Come on. You're inflaming everybody right here, right now with those words. This administration has done that as well. Why in the name of heavens? Any one of us, right, are replaceable. And any one of us, if we don't get it right, the audience has the opportunity to turn the channel or not read it.
Okay, all right. Now, the audio listeners are not going to hear this, but I'm going to explain what just happened for the video, folks. All right? And you can watch this on YouTube. Of course, you can watch us live on twitch.tv/JustinRYoung. Okay? Just watch Sarah Huckabee Sanders' face. This is why she's better at this job than Sean Spicer.
And any one of us, if we don't get it right,
Okay, look at her face now. Look at her face now. She's stern-faced, right? And this guy is aggressive. He is pointing. He is pointing right at her. How dare you? How dare you? You have the unmitigated gall, the nerve to say that CNN is out of bounds when CNN reporters can get fired when they lie. When you lie, you cannot get fired. You need to be held accountable. So as he gets aggressive, just watch Sarah Huckabee Sanders' face.
The audience has the opportunity to turn the channel or not read us.
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? This is why she's better at the job. She understands that this guy's already lost. Sure, he's going to be a hero to Vox. Sure, he's going to be a hero to people who already hate Donald Trump. But to average people watching, the person pointing and yelling out of turn in what is supposed to be an orderly press conference is going to be the loser, and she knows she now can get out of this line of questioning because he has skipped the line, and so she has this to say.
I think
You have been elected to serve for 4 years at least. There's no option other than that. We're here to ask you questions.
Right.
We're here to provide the answers. And what you just did is inflammatory to people all over the country who look at it and say, see, once again, the president's right and everybody else out here is fake media. And everybody in this room is only trying to do their job.
So this guy's going after it. She is smiling like the butcher's dog.
Well, I disagree completely. First of all, I think if anything has been inflamed, it's the dishonesty that often takes place by the news media. And I think it is outrageous for you to accuse me of inflaming a story when I was simply trying to respond to his question. Kevin.
Thank you, Sarah.
Oh, look, and then look at Homeboy's face. Look at Homeboy's face. Oh, no. All right, here. Just look at the last face he makes. And I'm sorry that this is going to be terrible for audio listeners, but just go watch the show. YouTube.com/Justin Robert Young. Just do me a favor.
Inflaming a story when I was simply trying to respond to his question.
Oh, he's about to say something again, and he realized he's boxed in, and he's just like, meh. I love this show because I'm just really, here's what I'm really glad about is that you guys listening to this show can understand that there can be interpersonal human dynamics that we can find funny and we can find relevant and we can map out that are beyond very simple binary, good, bad, left, right, red, blue ideologies. God, I love you guys. I love you guys. And the reason why I did that story first, is because I want to do this story now, which is, again, the idea that there are some, and I would say by a majority liberal, but certainly not exclusive, because I've got a lot of never Trump conservative friends as well, that cannot believe that Trump voters would continue to vote for Trump. Or rather, support Trump. Would vote for him again. 10 out of 10 would vote again. So let me tell you guys, if you are one of them, and go raise your hand. Raise your hand right now in the Twitch chat. Are you floored right now that anyone who voted for Donald Trump would vote for him again and are satisfied, if not happy, with the job that he is doing right now? Let me know if you are, no judgment, man, no judgment. That's why we have the smartest audience in politics. We got a good representation here in the audience. So let me break some shit down here for y'all. Number one, why would somebody who voted for Trump support Trump? To answer that question, you truly have to understand what Trump's appeal was to the people who voted for him. Okay? And let's not also forget that Donald Trump did not get selected in a public culling of the best and the brightest in the world. It was for all intents and purposes, eat shit, Gary Johnson and Jill Stein fans, a binary pick. Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. Don't let what is happening now ever let you forget that this was a binary decision. So, number one is party, right? Any Republican is going to be better than any Democrat. So there's that. And that's, by the way, the vast majority of it. Number two, Donald Trump is paying lip service to issues that everybody else has cashed in on and come back and cashed in on again 100 times. 100 times. So, yes, Donald Trump might totally be a flake and ineffective at keeping manufacturing jobs in America, right? By the end of this, we might be not only below where we would have been otherwise, but we could be worse off because of Donald Trump. But he is talking about it, and he is talking about it after he got elected. You want to know what very few politicians do after they get elected? Talk about bringing good jobs back to Michigan and Ohio. Now, sure, every once in a while there's some sort of bill or something that they can tie on to it. If you're Obama, you can talk about clean jobs or something like that. But usually once you get elected, you move on to, well, you know, it's complicated and a lot of different trade winds, and we can't just totally artificially manipulate the world market and yada, yada, yada. After the election, you normally get the reality of what happens. On the campaign trail, it's, all roses. I will work tirelessly to make sure we make Michigan the industrial powerhouse it used to be. Which plays into the other element. Donald Trump has portrayed himself very intelligently into this role. The crusader in a great war that even his staunchest supporters believe might be unwinnable. Understand what that means. Donald Trump is fighting for manufacturing jobs in 2017. Even people who want desperately to have a manufacturing job in 2017 kind of understand that it's not coming back. Like they've read the writing on the wall. They ain't stupid. So all he has to do to fulfill his role as crusader in a great war that very likely can't be won is fight hard. That's it. He doesn't have to win. All he has to do is make the appearance that he is trying. Like, that's it. That's it. So why, if you voted for him, and you voted for him partly on the idea that he is a great crusader in a war that very likely can't be won, and Donald Trump is talking more about manufacturing than most presidents normally do in the way that the public messaging is set up, because, and listen, let me fill in what you're likely saying if you hate Donald Trump. Yeah, he's sitting in a truck like an idiot and an asshole because he doesn't know what the fuck policy is. And he constantly just has to be fed these one-liners, and he doesn't really understand how to run government. And so he would rather busy himself with photo ops with business leaders than actually doing his job. Is that what you were going to say? Cool. All right. Now it's said. But there is a worth to that. There's a worth to sitting in a big truck like a big boy. There's a worth to taking pictures every 2 weeks with business leaders, because it provides the illusion that anytime there is an America favorable deal that is struck, he can say, why do you think that happened? I am trying to fight as hard as I can. Now, I know what you're saying, but wait a minute. Hold on, Justin. Stop. Just shut it up. Shut it up and shut it down, you idiot. You gosh darn jackhole idiot. Like, I think it's JSC315 says he's a classless idiot and he's made this country look like a joke. Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. I'm a Channel Ave voice. Because, by the way, how can you still support this guy when every single day on the news, in the newspaper, there is more and more smoke about the fact that he colluded with Russia to win this election? What? How can you support that man? That man is a traitor to this country. Well, here's the problem with that. Most of Donald Trump's base, most of the people that voted for Donald Trump, oh, they hate the media. Hate the media. Hate the media. Just despise them. Despise CNN. Despise the New York Times. So when JSC315, who I don't disagree with, says that it's classless when he gets all up on his Twitter and starts taking shots at the Washington Post and the New York Times and CNN and Kathy Griffin and is just lacing into these people. Yes, it is beneath the office of the President of the United States to personally attack these organizations. And not or, not but, and it is catnip for his base. Catnip for his base. Oh, God, does he love it. Oh, God, they just love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Hey, love it, love it. Give me some more. I'm saying love it, love it. Give me some more. Boop, boop, boop. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, did the president take a poop on CNN today? If he did, I'm going to click my heels and run around with a bag on my head like a cat on catnip. Applewild 402 says it's not catnip, it's heroin. I've never seen a heroin junkie do a cartwheel. I've seen a lot of cats. A lot of cats have done some crazy stuff when they're high on catnip. They love it. Do yourself a favor. Go on over to r/the_Donald. Now, I understand it is what it is. I'm not endorsing it. All I'm saying is this. Look at the unmitigated joy and how high the posts that are about Donald Trump pooping on the media or them fact-checking the media themselves. Believe what you want about their intentions, but understand that this is a representative barometer of a large sect of the country. Now, not all of them are as extravagant as they are. But Fox News, the greatest conservative media hegemony of the last 30 years, was founded on the idea that you don't trust CNN. So come watch us. And it became more popular than CNN. So just look at those numbers, okay? And understand that it transcends age. Because if the_Donald can get on the front page of Reddit regularly, and Fox News is the ratings powerhouse that it was in the past, and we'll see where it goes going forward, then that means that this is not just old people. This is a section of the country, young and old. And as a byproduct of that, they don't buy Russia. They don't think that this Russia thing is real. And I've expressed skepticism about it. I think it's interesting that quietly we've moved the goalposts away from did Donald Trump actively collude with Russia to pervert the election to did Donald Trump obstruct justice to do it. Feels a little bit like Kenneth Starr being assigned as a special prosecutor for Whitewater and then all of a sudden smelling Bill's fingers. So now let's go ahead and take the other side of this. What would make these folks turn? What would make them feel less happy about the job that Donald Trump is doing? One qualifier and then one answer. The qualifier for a Democrat? Nothing. Nothing, honey. I'm sorry. But the reason why deplorables resonated with the Donald Trump base is, again, something that I have heard from black people about the N-word. I have heard the line of argument that when a celebrity uses the N-word, there is a section of black America that's like, you want to know what? Yeah, it's abhorrent. It's awful. I think less of this person. But I'm kind of glad that somebody got caught on tape saying it. Because no white people in general want to come out here and say that they do, including that celebrity. If you ask Riley Cooper, you ask Hulk Hogan, hey, Riley Cooper, Hulk Hogan, do you use the N-word casually? Is that a no comment? So you do or you don't? Okay, apparently there's a no comment from Riley Cooper and Hulk Hogan. And yet, on tape, they're both yelling and using just the worst versions of the N-word. So when Hillary Clinton says that there is a basket of deplorables, a lot of conservatives were not only energized by it, excited by it. Because they're like, finally, you're out here on tape saying what we know you believe. We know you believe it. We know you hate us. You hate us. So at least you said it. At least you said it. You said it on tape. And then you went back and said you didn't mean what you said. Well, guess what? The North remembers. Democrats are a party obviously in search of an identity right now. As soon as they wake up from this Donald Trump's getting impeached tomorrow hangover, they got a lot of hard questions they got to answer about the direction of their party. But one of the biggest issues is that they don't have any credibility on the right. Now, it's not to say the Republicans have credibility on the left, but it speaks to, I think, the general health of the parties that Trump was able to snipe Union Democrats. And that affected Hillary in two different ways. Number one, it took the physical people voting. And number two, it eroded Union support, which the Democrats just took for granted. So there are little inroads that everybody can take, and Democrats can take inroads into the Republican base. But in general, they got a real problem with crossing the aisle. Both parties do. But let's focus on the Democrats now because they got to face it. So what can turn these voters against Donald Trump? I mean, you already know. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. It was modified by Slick Willie, Bill Clinton, to be, it's the economy, stupid. If we have a huge global downturn, man, a lot of this other shit with Trump is going to be real tacky real quick. I mean, because right now the economy's doing all right. It's rebounding. The stock market's doing all right. It's taking a bit of a dump recently, but in general, enthusiasm is kind of up. We continue to sort of trend upwards. I'm not here to argue about who really is the reason for that. But if we're in a massive thing, a massive crunch, and a lot of people are getting laid off, you want to know what's gonna be a lot harder? Donald Trump just farting around on Twitter. You want to know what's going to be harder to pass? A healthcare reform bill that doesn't, reform healthcare all that much. The economy. That's it. That's it. But real quick, let's get back to the Russia thing. One of the biggest things on the right now is this Veritas video. How many people right now in the Twitch chat, and when I say Veritas, know what Veritas is? Because I don't really have a sense of exactly how much mainstream, I read so much random fringe shit on both sides that, yeah, so a lot of people, the majority of people here don't know what Veritas is, right? It is Latin for the truth. The Veritas Project, I believe, is a series of videos done by a man what's named O'Keefe. He is a documentary journalist, but I would say more accurately, and I don't mean this as a pejorative, he is a polemicist. He is a politically active polemicist. He is there to change your mind to his side based on what he deems to be evidence, right? He came to prominence with, I believe, the Acorn videos, therefore exposing folks at a housing agency. The details of that issue escape me. I believe he was also behind some of the Planned Parenthood videos that became issues throughout the primary campaign 2 years ago. And now he's back. From outer space, you just came in with that sad look upon your face. He's got credibility issues. Before we go any further, let me just say, the man's got credibility issues. I am not saying that he is, again, there's a reason why I would call him a polemicist and not a documentarian. And by the way, most documentaries are a little bit more work than you might think anyway. But he's back now with a series he calls American Pravda. And in it, we'll play just the beginning here.
Then why is CNN constantly like Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now.
But honestly, you think the whole Russia shit is just like bullshit.
Could be bullshit. I mean, it's mostly bullshit right now. Like, we don't have any big giant proof. I just feel like they don't really have it.
So this is the beginning where they kind of go through just the highlights of what they caught. This is all surreptitiously recorded. And at one point, this producer says that on a conference call with Jeffrey Zucker, the head of CNN, they said, "Hey guys, great job covering the climate accords, but now let's get back to Russia." This is all angled toward the idea and pitched toward the idea that CNN is actively creating this for ratings. Now, it should come as a little surprise to a lot of people who are watching this right now that I have a general disdain for television news. It is part of the reason why I wanted to create the card game, Action News, because I think that television news is comical and often lazy. So when I watch these pieces, and like much of the Project Veritas stuff, we're waiting for the shoe to drop to see who was paid off and how things were cleverly edited, yada, yada, yada. But I would not be shocked if all of this is totally legit. For this reason, I don't look at this and see Democratic operatives looking to help the president. I see lazy journalists. Like, television news is lazy journalism. More at 11. They say that television news journalism is lazy, but what they aren't telling you could kill your kids. More at 11. Television news is lazy, and here to discuss it are 4 random people you've never heard of. I don't think they're evil. They're lazy. A lot of people think that television news journalism is lazy, if not downright evil. I asked my co-host, Barbara Walters, what she thought. We'll see where it goes. I don't really want to spend too much time on Project Veritas. It is what it is. That dude's got a history, and he's a polemicist. Like, and I'm defending his right to be a polemicist within the law. Within the law, you are allowed to do whatever you want, right? But yeah, he makes propaganda videos. That's fine. Let's actually deal with some real news here. Mitch McConnell decided to shelve the healthcare vote because he was not sure that he had the votes. He was pushing for it to be voted on by July 4th. He has now punted it after July 4th, so everybody came on over to the White House to talk strategy, and Donald Trump seemed fairly nonplussed about it. It was just like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, man, that's fine. If y'all do it, that's cool. If you don't do it, that's cool. But just know if you don't do it, you're going to have to own Obamacare. Which ain't wrong. You ain't wrong on that. So that's that. Whatever. Go get your real news somewhere else. I'm here for the bullshit. Including this. The progressive liberal. Again, I didn't want to talk about this, but for whatever reason, this just kept getting sent to me over and over and over and over and over again. We get this version of it from the Washington Post, or as Donald Trump called it, the Amazon Guardian Washington Post, a hashtag that nobody has used before or will use since. Wrestling's newest villain has named himself the progressive liberal. Hillary's on his shirt. An article by Travis M. Andrews. He writes, "It was a strange sight, even for the sport of professional wrestling," but sport in quotes. Yeah, well, maybe your newspaper has shitty articles. "A wrestler holding a microphone faced an Appalachian crowd before a match and began unleashing a torrent of insults, the nature of which seemed out of place at a pro wrestling event. Quote, I now know why you all identify with country music. It's slow and it's simple and it's boring, just like each and every one of you. As the crowd grew increasingly hostile, the wrestler's remarks became more politically tinged. And you know what? I think Bernie Sanders would make a great Secretary of State. I want to exchange your bullets for bullet points of knowledge. He even called Donald Trump a con man, and the crowd exploded in jeers. Shut up, someone yelled. Strange indeed. But then the muscular man's shirt read, not my president. Meet the wrestler who goes by the name Progressive Liberal Dan Richards, the most hated character in Kentucky's Appalachian Mountain Wrestling program, a small professional wrestling circuit. Now, I watched some of the promos. Those are the talking parts of the Progressive Liberals' character. I will say it is a shame that somebody it's $1 million gimmick on a less than $1 million performer. Credit to him for coming up with it. I hope that he continues to grow as a performer. But I will say this. He gets what matters. He gets what matters in a big way. Because a lot of what he says is classic stuff. There are a few kind of traditional heels when it comes to antagonizing Southern crowds. And it's been done 1 million times. And it's kind of been extrapolated on the national stage on, in just kind of taking the idea, the tropes of a Southern crowd and extrapolating it to all wrestling fans. Because wrestling fans are made fun of for being stupid and poor and shit like that, right? So what he does is just run the same I'm smarter than you gimmick. I'm from the north. I'm from a big city. You're from a small town. I think he even says one of my least favorite things in all of politics, which is, you dumb hicks are voting against your own interests. So guess what? I'm here to explain what's best for you. I'm here to tell you how to think. That's great wrestling. That's great wrestling. You think wrong. But don't worry. It's not your fault that you're stupid. But it's my job to educate you. Great. Love it, love it, love it. What is interesting is the fact that he's popped. Tell you what, brother. The progressive liberal is over in the parlance of the industry. He's gotten a lot of press, national press. Deadspin picked him up, and a lot of people picked up the story from there. So the reason why professional wrestling is, in my opinion, the greatest art form that America has ever perfected is because very often it does reveal base truths about us. People from small towns resent big towns. People from big towns think small towns are worthless. People are very self-conscious about their level of education. People care about what others think about them. These are all the core tenets that professional wrestling plays against for art. We want to see the underdog win and the bad guy lose. So if we understand that, what do we understand about the progressive liberal? The character. And how can you apply that not only to win elections if you're a politician, but if you're a fan of the causes that he's satirizing, why is that getting a reaction to the crowd? Why do you, even as somebody who probably voted and deep down believes some of what he's saying, why do you find what he is saying objectionable? Makes you think. Makes you think, IMO. Let's go ahead and get into something. We'll stay there in the mountain mid-Atlantic because we've got ourselves a little race on our hands. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, we got ourselves an actual political race. So what do you say? We head on down to the Gentleman's Club. We break those 20s into ones because this is the...
Get on the floor if you got that booty.
This right here is our pole dance for the Virginia governor's race. It is a Quinnipiac poll taken from June 15th to June 20th with 1,145 registered voters, a 3.8% margin of error. Let's go ahead and take a look. The Republican at 39%. We have Edgar Gillespie. But your headliner, a Democrat at 47%. He is Northam. That is Northam with an 8% spread. Definitely have to keep an eye. Keep an eye on that Virginia governor's race. Although I believe the last few Virginia governors have been a Democrat. Remember, that's where Tim Kaine came from, and what's his butt? The old Clinton stalwart, Terry McAuliffe. Terry McAuliffe came out there, too. All right, let's go ahead and get on into our email. You can email us, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, that is theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Duncan writes, I keep hearing right-wing political opinions in the style of we hate nationalism and globalism, America first. Why does this position exist? Why do our borders have anything to do with helping other human beings? America first sounds so backwards and barbaric. Can you explain this a bit better? Maybe I'm missing something. Yeah. This is something that I have found fascinating, specifically throughout the 2016 election, because I think it was something that I fundamentally misunderstood, and I have endeavored to try and figure out more and more as we have done this Politicsx podcast. I don't think that it is limited to a political party. I don't think it is limited to America. I think that we are seeing similar similar ideas happening throughout the world, specifically in G8 countries. If you are looking at it as nationalism versus globalism in the idea that I care about only Americans with the exception of everybody else, then I think you're never going to understand the mindset of somebody who finds that to be an important rallying cry. So don't think of it as stars upon thars, sneeches on beaches kind of shit, right? The fear of globalism is the fear of power moving so far away from me that I can't affect it. So, and I think this is the reason why people in smaller, less populated areas of the country feel this more strongly than people in big cities. Because I don't think people in big cities, they feel an abundance of power. They feel however connected they are to the federal government, but they feel more connected to their local media, which is oftentimes more powerful. They feel more connected to their local government, which is oftentimes more important. They feel connected. Where I think this idea is coming from is for people who feel disconnected. People who feel that, sure, power is moving further and further away from my city and further away from my state and further away now from America. That America is now signing into agreements that are going to be dictated in a place that I don't know, with people that I can't elect or not elect, that I can't control. Now, the more fever dream version of this argument is that, yes, this is the movement by the globalists and the New World Order. And that eventually, say, this is what they do. They're moving power away from you, and next thing you know, you're going to have Mickey Mouse in The Hague deciding that you can't smoke cigarettes. And that's bullshit. I'm sorry for cursing. You son of a bitch, motherfucker. I am sorry we have Christian affiliates. I'm just, whenever I start doing jumping jacks, I did 40 jumping jacks today, and I had some fondue. I just get my testosterone just starts getting going. Stoic Squirrel says globalist is another code word from minorities and foreigners. No, I actually don't think that. I think there are other code words for those. But I don't think that globalist is one of them. Because certainly immigration becomes a part of it, but that again is another, I believe, another bicameral section of it. I think that the core drive here is a fear that I will not control my life. And so this is where the Paris Climate Accords, I think, we go left and right, and nobody gives a fuck about each other's side. is that the side that fears globalism cheers pulling out of the Paris Accord. Because what they're saying is, all right, forget about what my opinion on global warming is. You're telling me that out in Paris, we are signing on to an agreement where we are not treated equally because we're setting an example. And so we are going to affect American business because a bunch of other people across the Atlantic Ocean decided it, and I don't get no say in it. I don't get to register the fact that I don't think that's good. I don't want to affect the American economy because of that. And if I say that, now all of a sudden everybody calls me anti-science and racist and an idiot. That's where we're at? Okay. I guess I'll just shut up. / I'm not. Let me retweet that one cartoonist that makes everybody, was it Ben Garrison? Let me retweet this Ben Garrison cartoon and get into a fight with my nephew on Facebook. Scale writes, to quote the immortal Vin Diesel, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. It's true in Georgia, and it'll still be true in 2018, and it'll be even more true in 2020. Yes, if things keep going the way they're going, Trump wins in 2020. Why? The Democrats don't understand. Wait, hold on. Let me add my sound effects. The Democrats do not understand.
Just the way.
They're squandering
Just the way. Just the way.
It's something you're supposed to ride. You use the wave to push yourself ahead. You don't use the wave to drown your opponent. That scaly motherfucker Trump is a slippery fish, and you can't drown a fish. The Hill Dogs and the Bernie Bros are tapping the energy of the wave, and they are using it to push the Russia connection, the tax returns, Comey, Flynn, Ivanka's clothing line, Jared's real estate deals. They are wasting the energy of the wave on this bullshit that is going nowhere. I've said before, and I'll say it again. People have a finite amount of shits to give before their precious shits are wasted. I fear that the energy of the wave will be depleted before the Democrats can find a candidate with more than 2 brain cells to push them towards the White House. TLDR, do you want 8 years of Trump? Because that's how you get 8 years of Trump, Democrats. Learn to wave. And finally, Matt writes, Brazil Watch, hey, here is the latest on the scandal. So let's go ahead and read this real quick as we head on out the door. Of course, Brazil in all sorts of corruption scandals. The president was on tape talking about how he's manipulated the government. Here we go. Brazil President Michel Temer charged with taking bribes. Brazil's top federal prosecutor charged the president with taking multi-million-dollar bribes on Monday in a stinging blow to the unpopular leader and the political stability of Latin America's largest country. Rodrigo Hano submitted the charge in the document presented to the Supreme Court, saying he fooled Brazilian citizens and owed the nation millions in compensation for accepting bribes. Under Brazilian law, the lower house of Congress must vote now whether to allow the top tribunal to try the conservative leader who replaced impeached leftist Dilma Rousseff just over a year ago. The revolving door of the leadership of Brazil. Come on down to Rio. You too could be the president of Brazil. Well, folks, that about wraps it up for this edition of the Politics program. Thank you guys for hanging out. Here's the big news. This Friday on Kickstarter, we are launching Action News. I'm so proud of this game. You guys are going to love it. I give you my jury guarantee. I cannot speak more about it. We are also launching a new podcast called If at First You Don't Succeed. That is available now on iTunes and the Google Play Store. It is me and John Teasdale walking you through the entire process of how we made the Kickstarter, as well as when the Kickstarter is going. It'll be a limited run podcast, but if you're interested in crowdfunding based business from somebody who lost $40,000 on our last one, we're doing all the gory details, all the numbers. We have the 10 Kickstarter commandments are the first episode that I would encourage everybody to listen to. We break down all the things you need to know to launch your Kickstarter based on somebody who not only did it right, but then also squandered all the money. And a lot of the reason why we squandered all the money and then some was because of decisions that we didn't make before we started. Also, you're going to watch either a success story in the making or a slow motion train wreck. So it's going to be good eating no matter what. Go ahead and check that out if at first you don't succeed on iTunes. If you want to email this show, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Music provided by Valesco and Trop Killers. And you can follow me at Justin R. Young everywhere. Follow at Contender Game if you want all the action news. Folks, download archived episodes of this show at bonerwars.com. Folks, some shows talk about politics. Others talk about politics. Others talk about politics as well, but this is the only show that talks about all three. I will see you guys next week.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.